What's going on? What I'm going to be doing in this video here is going over the full strategy that we use to 6x our clients' monthly recurring revenue from email. All right, I'm going to be breaking down the entire process from the customer avatar research phase, flows, campaigns, and optimization. But before we do, if you run a 7 or 8 figure e-commerce brand, you're looking to delegate your email and SMS marketing, book a call, link in the description below, and we'll take a look at your guys' Klaviyo and go from there. So, diving right in. All right, so this is a supplement brand. Um, and of course, the before and after stats. This is over a 12-month period, 210,000 US dollars here attributed to Klaviyo in the year of 2022. Directly after, from 2023 to 24, we 6x that to 1.3 mil over 12 months. All right, so massive improvement. And here was sort of their starting situation. All right, so supplement brand, as I said, their main problems were poor list growth, missing several flows, suboptimal campaign strategy, poor content, highly reliant on discounts, which is quite common. Solution in this case was building out the missing flows, optimizing the pop-up form and the flows, testing and optimizing the campaign content, and reducing the discounts. All right, generally speaking, you don't want to have a lot of discounts on the campaigns. All right, the results, we increased, of course, their email revenue from 211K per year to 1.3 mil per year in email rev. All right, so obviously great results. So let's dive right in. First step, customer avatar research. All right, and this is a step that a lot of people overlook because they're like, oh, like let's just start building flows, right? But the reason that the emails convert so much higher is because obviously they're relevant to the customer. So you gotta figure that out first. So here's our process. So when the client signed up with us, they fill out this customer demographics intake form. Obviously, our client knows their customer a lot better than we do at first. From there, we list 5 to 10 of the brand's high value customers, people who've purchased 3x or more over time. And then we research them on social media, sort of get a feel for what they're like. From there, we read customer reviews on the brand website and on Amazon. And then we write a quick summary of the customer avatar based on the above 3 steps in a Google Doc. And then from there, we're able to write, 3 to 5 hooks or marketing angles to test out. And generally speaking, like 1 or 2 of these is going to be the winning angle that we can then base all of our content on. So, um, and essentially what the hooks are is the aspect of the brand or product that the customer is going to care the most about. So for example, in this case, if you sell supplements, the hooks might be eco-friendly packaging, no artificial ingredients, it tastes great, NSF certified for sport. And then simplified nutrition, aka you don't need to be taking several supplements. All right. So all of these are relevant to the customer, but we needed to figure out which one of these was the most important. What is sort of the main purchasing criteria for them. All right, that makes them choose this brand over one of their competitors. All right, so essentially, um, what we want to do is find the hook that most new subscribers will be like, oh, well, that is exactly what I'm looking for. So the winning hook then becomes our headline on our emails. All right. The goal obviously is to capture their attention versus, the sea of competitors that are fighting for their attention in the inbox. We want to capture their attention right away so that they keep reading. If they keep reading, they have a higher chance to convert. All right. So that's the research phase. From there, once that's done, we then built out their flows. All right. So set up all core flows. It's important to get the highest revenue generating flows first. So that's going to be abandoned checkout, browse abandonment, welcome flow, and the post purchase. We paid special attention to the welcome flow, to setting up the welcome flow correctly because it is generally the most important. Obviously that's the first touch point with all new customers. Okay. Ideally, the welcome flow should consist of a good balance of sales-based emails and content-based emails. The idea is to indoctrinate all new subscribers into the brand and convert those who are ready to become customers. All right. And the people who don't convert right away, we want to prime them to become customers in the future. All right. So here's an example of some of the content angles that we use. So brand story, reviews, customer reviews, aka social proof, how the products are made, sort of what are the ingredients, us versus them, comparison versus competitors, focused on USPs. So this is focusing on, okay, like all of our competitors use this ingredient and it might not necessarily be an effective dose versus us. Here's our transparent list of ingredients as an example. Message from the founder, and you want this to be in a plain text format. And here's a comparison of their old welcome email one versus the new one we replaced it with. So take a look at this. Here's what they had before. Obviously, it doesn't look that great. Looks like it was made in Microsoft Paint. Here's the one that we made. All right. Obviously, it looks a lot better. Okay, and this one obviously converted a lot better too. So moving on. All right. Campaigns. So when we first started working with them, they had three main problems going on with their campaigns. All right. So number one, they weren't sending frequently enough. Two, their campaigns were mostly sales and product based. And three, email designs were suboptimal. All right. So step one, they weren't sending frequently enough. When we first started working with them, they were only sending campaigns around once every 1 to 2 weeks or so. Based on the engagement that we were seeing in their account, we saw that they were leaving a ton of potential sales on the table, which is quite common. All right, a good rule of thumb for these metrics is if you have an over 30% open rate, over 0.5% click rate, under 1% unsub rate, and sub 0.1% spam rate, then you can increase campaign frequency. All right. This generally has diminishing returns, though, after 3 to 4 campaigns per week. So keep that in mind. Each brand has a unique sweet spot for campaign frequency. Finding it is a process of trial and error, and that's going to depend on several factors. You know, how sort of the affinity for your brand with your subscribers, how big the list is, etc. So that's why you got to test it out. All right, so their problem number two was campaigns were mostly sales and product based. All right. So sending campaigns that are mostly sales and product based can become predictable and annoying to your subscribers, and not surprisingly, will generally result in an unnecessarily high churn rate. All right. So ideally, you want to be sending 60 to 80% value to content based campaigns versus 20 to 40% sales based. So it's kind of like a 60-40, 80-20 split here, favoring the value/content based. A value/content-based campaign is any campaign that offers more value to the reader than it asks for in return. All right, so most of these will offer value in the form of, education about solving relevant problems, education about the product in a, non-salesy way. Here are the ingredients, here are the products, or how the products are made. Social proof, reviews, testimonials, etc. Entertainment, sharing interesting educational or inspirational stories, etc. Think about this is a good example of any paid subscriber or any paid newsletter that you're subscribed to. All right, if you weren't getting regular value from it, then you wouldn't remain subscribed. If they were just pitching their products or their course or whatever at you, then you would probably unsubscribe because it's not useful. It's just taking up space and it's taking up your attention, right? So that's how you want to view your own email list. So ask yourself, how would I pay for this? Like, would I pay for this if I was one of my own subscribers? So if you would pay to be on this newsletter, then you're doing a good job. Now, for this brand, we started sending 3 to 4 campaigns per week and eventually determined that 3 campaigns per week was the brand's sweet spot. At 4, we were getting a bit of pushback, in terms of like, all right, you guys are sending a lot. So that's good feedback. So we started sending value-based campaigns, and over the course of a few weeks, started to see an increase in engagement metrics. And then their final problem with the campaigns, email designs were suboptimal. All right, their emails were originally being designed by their in-house marketing team of 2 who are responsible for many other channels besides emails. So it's actually very understandable that the designs were subpar. Their attention was split between a ton of different channels. All right. Now, this is obviously a very simple problem for us to solve simply because we only hire A plus graphic designers whose sole job it is to be designing emails all day. Now, a lot of brands do not have a dedicated designer, let alone a dedicated designer who has a 10 out of 10 skill level. All right. Excellent email design goes a long way in subconsciously improving your subscribers' perception of your brand, which is going to improve conversions indirectly. All right. And how do we know this? And this is what this client said, along with several of our other clients have said something similar. So after revamping their email designs, we started frequently receiving comments from subscribers We thought that this was a much bigger brand than it actually was, specifically due to the designs. This brand's director of marketing straight up told me that. They're like, "Oh, yeah, it's probably due to the designs that people think we have this huge team when we don't." All right. Let's take a look at his brand's original campaigns compared against the new campaigns that we implemented. All right. So here's what they had before. Again, doesn't look great, doesn't necessarily stand out. Okay. Versus, this is the campaigns that we started implementing. As you can see right here, I mean, it looks way more professional. All right. Nothing too fancy here, but obviously it looks like it was made by a professional designer. So here are the stats on each campaign just to show you. And of course, like the design plays a role, but also a bunch of other stuff that we're going to be covering here in a sec. All right, so before 48% open rates, 650. This is a typical campaign. Not that great, okay? After, higher open rates, higher revenue. Overall, much better stats, okay? 11,000 versus 600. Okay, that's actually a massive improvement. So there are several factors that went into the campaign performance. Primary factors take place over a longer period of time. These are number one, consistently sending high quality, valuable content. Number two, growing your engaged audience. All right, so this goes hand in hand with the previous point here. And then number three, constantly auditing campaign performance, finding which campaign topics are resonating and doubling down on those, right? And then just stop sending the campaigns that don't really resonate with the customers. All right. It's very simple and self-explanatory, but a lot of people don't do it. All right. Last part of the equation here, optimization. All right. This one is highly overlooked. Optimizing flows and pop-ups through A/B testing is where most of the long-term revenue growth comes from. Okay. Email revenue is entirely comprised of two variables. Number one, the conversion rate of your emails, and number two, the number of recipients of your emails. Okay. So you focus on both of these. This is how you improve your email revenue. All right. Now, by optimizing your pop-up forms and your flows, you are increasing both sides of this equation, resulting in maximal email revenue growth because you have more people opting into your list and a higher percentage of people who opt in are becoming customers over time. Okay. So we started by testing the highest ROI variables first. So this is going to be the order of the variables that we tested first. So time delay, followed by subject line slash preview text. All right, followed by the email content slash structure. All right, this is the order that we tested it because these tests are super easy to set up and have a pretty high ROI once you find the winning variation. Okay. Now, here's the list of all of the variables that we tested over the past year. Okay, so send time and the day that we send it, the day of the week. Subject lines, preview text, from name, imagery, layout, length, colors, offers, copy, and the call to actions. All right. And just to give you an example of an A/B test that we ran, the only variable that we tested was the preview text. Enjoy $15 off your order versus here's 15% off or $15 off. The winning variation B is generating 33% more sales revenue than variation A. So small tweaks can make a pretty big difference. They won't always make a huge difference. That's why you got to test out a bunch of different stuff. But, around 10 to 20% of the time, one of the new variations that you test out is going to make a massive difference. So as you can see right here, pretty big difference. Okay. 33% more sales, as I said. So the idea is to stack as many wins like this as possible. And over time, you'll see a massive increase in the conversion rates of your flows and list growth rate from when you first started. All right, and to conclude this video here, so that's the overall strategy that we use to increase this brand's yearly email revenue from 211,000 per year to 1.3 mil per year. Obviously, that has been, a game changer for them. It all comes down to implementing these four phases of the strategy: customer avatar research, then flows, then campaigns, then optimization. These results can be replicated for any e-commerce brand. We've done it for 40 plus different brands with, close to pretty much 100% success rate. These are going to be, there are going to be small differences between brands as each brand is somewhat unique, but the overall process to achieving these results is always the same, and we have perfected this process. So, hope you enjoyed this video here. Again, if you run a 7 or 8 figure e-commerce brand, you're looking to delegate your email marketing, Once again, book a call, link in the description below. We'll take a look at your guys' Klaviyo and go from there. Other than that, thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day.